Previews of Strixhaven, a Curriculum of Chaos, are now out in the wild, and while character options within the book are pretty spicy overall, I had to get this video out now because holy hell did WotC ever just create one of the most obnoxious, overpowered spells we've ever seen. The spell I'm talking about today is Silvery Barbs, and do not be shocked if we see this thing eroded in future prints and banned from Adventurers League play. The spell is available to Bard, Sorcerer, and Wizard, and the text reads: First level enchantment. Casting time of 1 reaction which you take when a creature you can see within 60 feet of yourself succeeds on an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw. The range is 60 feet. Components are verbal. Duration is instantaneous. The description says you magically distract the triggering creature and turn its momentary uncertainty into encouragement for another creature. The triggering creature must reroll the d20 and use a lower roll. So this is essentially disadvantaged mechanics, but it's just not disadvantaged for the purposes of mechanics or other features that key off of advantage and disadvantage. You can then choose a different creature you can see within range. You can choose yourself. The chosen creature has advantage on the next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw it makes within 1 minute. A creature can be empowered by only 1 use of this spell at a time. Whenever we're designing something, we mathematically consider advantage or disadvantage to be an influence of about 4.5 as either a bonus in the case of advantage or penalty in the case of disadvantage to the d20 roll. Now, if we think mathematically that this is a 4.5 penalty to the attack roll that could trigger this thing, this is already starting to sound a lot like it's stepping on the toes of an already really powerful spell. And that other spell is one of the best spells in the game, called Shield. Shield is a first level abjuration spell with a casting time of 1 reaction, which you take when you're hit by an attack or targeted by the magic missile spell. The range is self, and the components are verbal and somatic, and the duration is 1 round. The description says an invisible barrier of magical force appears and protects you. Until the start of your next turn, you have a +5 bonus to AC, including against a triggering attack, and you take no damage from magic missile. So Shield is pretty specific here in that it can only apply to an attack roll or this specific spell of magic missile, and you do have that +5 bonus to your AC for 1 round, whereas the Silvery Barbs effect is instantaneous and negates that 1 attack. However, this also applies to ability checks or saving throws. The amount of synergy that this creates with Sorcerer, Wizard, and Bard is absolutely ridiculous. There are several subclasses that don't require the use of a spell slot in order to force a creature to make a saving throw against one of its effects, so it's not like this is balanced by the fact of you have to expend an additional first level or higher spell slot to make this thing work. Since this is a reaction, this can work on your turn. The only time that you're really going to use Shield on your turn reliably is to prevent an opportunity attack, but this has so many other applications. This can be used aggressively in a way that Shield is purely defensively. Not only that, you're rewarded for hitting that oh shit button of I need to cast this spell to GTFO in a way that you aren't with Shield. But Silvery Barbs is vastly more applicable in the action economy and just insanely easier to go off. Add to that, it's a much safer triggering reaction in that it isn't just something that's attacking you, it can attack something else. Something else could succeed on an ability check or a saving throw, whatever. It is so much more versatile that you're going to be able to get Silvery Barbs to go off versus Shield. To add to that, the wider potential swing for defense against a triggering attack roll means that I think that even just the flat bonus that's in Shield isn't enough to make that even comparable anymore. Now, I don't want to make the sweeping statement that Silvery Barbs is better than Shield in absolutely every situation, because no matter what, I get a YouTube comment that brings up one specific niche instance in which, whatever, but in 99.9% of situations in D&D, you are essentially a worse character for taking Shield instead of Silvery Barbs. To add to that, there's a specific wording in this spell that is causing an odd interaction with legendary resistance. To be clear, this spell should not be allowed to work this way. Legendary resistance is a thing that should just straight up override the fact that there was even a roll made. However, due to the wording of this and the coding of legendary resistance, this is something that we will probably see clarified in an errata. Whenever it says that you take the reaction whenever a creature succeeds on a saving throw, and the wording of legendary resistance says it can choose to succeed instead, you could technically cause Silvery Barbs to force a reroll after a creature has used legendary resistance, meaning that this is the most effective legendary resistance burner in the game. I guess we've now somehow dethroned Stunning Strike. DMs out there that are planning on running some kind of fun, later level one-shot arena thing, like let's say your party wants to go up and fight a Tarrasque, you should definitely not be allowing this spell on your tables. This is going to ruin the experience of the fight. Or at the very least, do not allow it to interact in the way I just described with Legendary Resistance. However, even if you're aware of that interaction and you just decide, you know what, we're going to ignore that interaction of it, later level wizards essentially have this infinitely because this is the no-duh default pickup with spell mastery at 18th level. I will say this much, if you choose basically any other spell in the game, any other first level spell in the game, over Silvery Barbs for your spell mastery feature, you are effectively a less powerful wizard by all measures. Additionally, because this is an enchantment spell on the wizard spell list, Arcane Trickster can get this as a means of helping to guarantee sneak attack. I'm reluctant to say that this is going to be as meta-defining for Arcane Trickster as it is for Wizard, but be aware that that synergy is there. To add one last thing here at the end, because this is a first level spell on the Wizard spell list, literally any character can pick this up with the Magic Initiate feat if you're allowing for feats at your table. This is a spell that is just so universally good as a reaction on quite literally any character that the potential for every character to have this spell available, this at the very, very least needs to be a second level spell. I mean, that might bring it up to a little bit more reasonable area, but even still, it doesn't help out with later level wizard and spell mastery and everything. But yeah, this is the kind of spell that I think is actually kind of damaging for D&D because it really removes choice once we understand this thing just provides you with more power than other first level spells. It's insanely more useful. This is just so helpful for absolutely every character to take. This is such an incredible spell. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Personally, I'm going to have this one banned at my tables. I just don't think that it's all that interesting. I think that this is going to be an obnoxious one to see in play. I'm not really terrified of the tools that my characters can throw at me because, I mean, if they're going to throw a spell at me, I can throw the spell back at them. But I honestly just don't even want to throw the spell back at them because it just seems like it's going to be a big, I don't know, party pooper spell. A huge thank you to Eric Fry for showing off a lot of these spells in a live stream over on his channel. Go check out Fry Minis if you haven't already. Also, a big thank you to ThinkDM for helping to bring a few other points of Silvery Barbs kind of to the forefront. I think it's his Twitter post that's actually causing a lot of stir around the spell right now. So I'm going to leave that down in the description below as well. If you're interested in a more game design focused approach to D&D analysis, go check out some of my other videos here on the channel, some of my other products over on the DMs Guild. I'm the creator of the Merchant and the Dancer class over there. I want to give a shout out to my Patreon sponsors. Thank you all so much for helping me keep the lights on around here and coffee in my blood. You all are absolute heroes. And hey, subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a like down there. I hope you all are staying safe, staying healthy, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.